Hold on, slow down. 10 months later, you made 7 figures in land.
Yeah, land is simple.
Wow.
Land is easy.
That's very impressive. Jack Bosch, welcome to the show, young man.
Thank you very much for
Great to
having
see
me
you.
here. Yes,
I'm excited to really get to know you today. How do you end up on the couch today? Tell us your story.
Came from Germany to the United States 27 years ago to finish my college degree.
Where did you go to school?
Middle of nowhere, Illinois, like partner university of my college in Germany. Nothing against the Western Illinois.
Sure.
Good school, just in the middle of freaking cornfields. Met Michelle there and graduated. She graduated at that time with her undergrad. We both found jobs that are willing to work us, and then more than anything, that are willing to sponsor a visa afterwards. And through that job, it took me 5.5 years to get the green card, 80 hours a week, sometimes work through the weekends, work till 10 p.m. at night, be away from Michelle like Monday to Friday. We didn't enjoy that. We didn't like it. So we started looking for something else, do something else. And through a process of fail forward, basically trial and error, failed at a bunch of stuff, we then coincidentally walked into land. And our first deal in land was an acre in a small town outside of Arizona. We had then moved to Arizona from there. And then we started our business eventually, started buying and selling land in Arizona. And one of the deals was an acre in a small town outside of 2-3 hours north of Phoenix. And we got that acre for $400 from somebody who just basically says, I don't care. I don't want it anymore. I got it out of divorce. I don't want to do anything with it. You can have it. Figured out land in an acre in that area was worth about 8 to 10 grand. We're like $400, can't do anything wrong. And the neighbor across the street, the day we bought it, we went up there, put a sign on the property. Neighbor comes across and on the spot offers us $4,000 for it. We're like, we'll take the deal, obviously. And we made that was our first deal. And then we just like did more and more in deal. Soon enough, the green card arrived and we were able to quit our jobs. And I think like 10 months later, we hit the 7 figures, and 2 years later, we hit the 8 figures. And
hold on, slow down. 10 months later, you made 7 figures in land.
Yeah, land is simple.
Wow.
Land is easy.
That's very impressive.
We just put, I mean, once I was used to working 80 hours a week.
Yeah.
We were able to put like 10 hours a week into the land business.
Wow.
And with 10 hours a week, we did a deal here, a deal there, enough to basically start paying off debt, start paying off a little bit, putting money on the sideline. Yep. I mean, early on, we got a deal where we paid $3,000 for 25 properties.
Wow. Came
out of an estate of a sorority. Mm-hmm. Somebody had given their properties to a sorority. The sorority doesn't need land.
Yeah.
They stopped paying property taxes. 4 of the properties had already gone away, so we got in 21. So we made an offer to the bank, who was the estate holder, for $3,000. They accepted it. So we got that, and with it, we inherited like $15,000 worth of back taxes.
Okay.
So we took 2 of the 21, sold those for about 15 grand,
yep.
Paid the back taxes off. Now we own 19 properties free and clear, and we made 150 grand with those. So then we took those and paid off our student debt, paid off some debt, put some money on the sideline, and which we luckily didn't have a huge amount of student debt because college in Germany is free. And I only had 1 year that I had to pay outrageous American amounts for college, yeah. Which I understand. But So by the time then the green card arrived, and we were able to quit our jobs because we had about a year's worth of living expenses on the sideline. We had paid down our debt. And at that moment, instead of just doing nothing, we just put all that energy that we before had put into our jobs into this business. Mm-hmm. And now we weren't working 80 hours a week, but we were working 40, 50 hours a week. Just like we just were on fire because we had found something that works, and we figured, let's just scale it as fast as we possibly can.
Very incredible. Very quick as well. Talk to me about like your exact strategy. You don't just randomly come up with a $400 lot. How were you looking? Who taught you about land? Where did this evolve from? Obviously, you're doing some research and looking at multiple different, career options and entrepreneurial endeavors. But all of a sudden, you don't just randomly come up with a $400 piece of land in, some random rural town of Arizona. Where did this derive from, and who taught you?
Yeah. So who taught us? Really nobody, because there wasn't anyone around to teaching that. There was probably 10 people in the country doing similar things to what we were doing. Okay. And But with that said, of course, we didn't learn everything just on osmosis. We learned, we watched an infomercial late at night by Ron LeGrand, who is now a good friend of mine. And Ron taught something completely different, but we bought a $69 cassette set, with really cassettes at the time still.
Crazy.
And with that, we learned the language of real estate.
Okay.
That package had a contract in it. We used that contract for our first deal because it was a generic real estate contract. We didn't have a contract. We didn't even know where to go for a contract.
Right.
So we just used some stuff like that. We bought some books about real estate and started reading that. And actually, when we 5 years ago, we moved into our dream home. And in moving, we found a box with those books inside. And I looked at them, and it's like the most basic real estate books you can imagine. Yeah. But I had like stuff circled and things like that, term circled that I had never heard in my life, like deed,
right?
Like foreclosure, like things like coming from Germany. Like first you have to learn school English, then you learn college English, then you learn a little bit business English because I was doing an MBA, and then you go into real estate.
It's all foreign. It's a whole foreign language,
it's all
for
words
sure.
that you've never heard in your life. Like when you grow up, you know what a 2x4 is, you know what drywall is or something like that. You've heard at least some standard words. You walked into Home Depot before and you've seen some of the stuff that's there.
For sure.
I'd never been in any of those places. So, but to answer the question, so we taught ourselves that way. The way we learned, we joined the RIA, the Real Estate Investor Association, learned something that way. And the way we stumbled into it is that first we kind of, everyone told us we need to do wholesale houses. So it's like, okay, so we driving for dollars. So we drove around neighborhoods and we found some boarded up houses, and we went down to the courthouse because data sources and stuff we didn't know they existed. For sure. And they weren't as common as they are right now. Investorlift didn't exist and all this kind of thing. So we went to the county took Friday afternoon off and literally microfiche, had to figure out who is the person that owns that.
So old school.
Like real old school stuff. Yeah. And I mean, still, people were on dial-ups then. Right. You still had to like plug in your phone and then do like, boop, 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 boop. Like that's where I'm talking. Right. 1999.
I bought my first deal from a newspaper. I get it.
Exactly,
I know.
Right. So
I get it.
So we went, and then we did, and we found a triplex here in Phoenix in the Garfield district, which is like
nice area.
Now a nice area. Back then, a really shitty area, like 7th Street and 101 and the I-10 down there, just off downtown. And it was, and really it was a teardown, but we didn't know because again, coming here, I don't know how much it costs to repair a kitchen. I don't know how much it costs to upgrade electric. What does a new roof cost? I have no idea. I was a renter at the time, right? So, no idea how about that. So we got on a contract for $45,000 and we wanted to flip it for 50 just to make $5,000. But we should have gotten it for free, as I understand now, right? But back then we put in the newspaper, got 28 people to call us. Not a single one bought it because they obviously understood that it was a crappy deal. So we backed out of that deal. Then we looked at the next thing. We thought, well, let's rehab a deal. Well, we had no money, no credit, no relationship. We didn't know anyone, no knowledge. Nobody wanted to partner with us because they're a bunch of newbies. They have no idea. So we backed out of that deal. Then the next thing is we looked into tax liens and tax deeds because we read Rich Dad Poor Dad, like most other people. And somewhere
are you friends with Robert? Probably are today.
Yes, we know each other. Yes, we've attended a bunch of parties together and so on. So, in somewhere about 2/3 of the book, he talks about getting 16% of his money with tax lien certificates. Another term I had never heard of. Sure. So I looked into what that is, and I realized that I could buy those, that some of the people don't pay property taxes. That was like, first of all, like, why would they not do that? Because in Germany, nobody not pays property taxes.
What happens in Germany if you don't pay?
I think that you just get liens put on really for almost like ever until you die. And then at some point of time, your heirs have to pay it. But they never go and foreclose on the property. Like in the US, they put liens on in Arizona for 3 years, and then whoever's the lien holder can foreclose on it. Right. So it's 3.5 years and the property's gone. Yeah. In California, it's 5 years and it gets put up on auction and it gets sold. In Texas, it's 2 years and it gets put up on auction and sold. It's the wild, wild west, really, when we realized that. But what really came up is like, well, that sounds cool. Let's go attend. So Michelle went to California, attended the tax deed auction, was outbid. I bought some tax liens in Arizona, and 3 weeks later were redeemed, and we made like $4. Right. And we're like, okay, that doesn't work. But then a thought came up, and the thought that came up was, I dug into the state statutes, the literature about it, and things like that, and I was like, these people whose properties are being foreclosed on, or in California, the properties are being sold at auction. If a property is being auctioned off in February of 2025, so next year, those people stop paying taxes in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So the thought that came up was like, well, if somebody makes up their mind to not pay the property taxes more, if they don't really want their property anymore, why do I have to wait 6 years in California to go bid on an auction that is publicized where they have 300 people show up and everyone bids this up? What if I could contact the city and figure out if I can get a list of the people that don't owe property taxes and then go after them and see if any of them are willing to sell their property? There's got to be some people in there that just stopped paying property taxes last month.
Right.
Hello? You just closed a deal on Investorlift for $100,000? Well, that happens all the time. I talk to wholesalers all day, every single day. And the number one problem they have? Buyers. If you're struggling with low assignment fees, deals not moving, contract fallouts, or having to consistently JV with other people, don't waste time, don't waste money. Come to Investorlift today and see how we can help you. Just click on the link right below.
And they owe almost nothing, but they're still willing to give these properties up for nothing.
Yeah.
And the same in Arizona and so on. And that's how we found that deal.
Love it.
Now, back then, none of the lists, none of these data sources had tax delinquent information. We weren't specifically looking for land.
Right.
We were just having that thought that if somebody decides they don't want this property anymore and they stop paying property taxes, we should be able, if we find them, we should be able to get that from them for pennies on the dollar.
Mm-hmm.
And indeed, that happened. So we got a list. We contacted some people, got a list here in town, went down, had to meet with even that was like the old days was like hard. You went to the county assessor and says, like, I want a list of all the people. And they're like, we went to the data. Sorry, we went to the IT guy because I was in the IT industry. I understood that the IT guy can pull records from here. And we understood that at that point that the assessor has the mailing address and the assessed value. But the information about whether they paid property taxes, the tax collector has, and those are two silos. They don't talk to each other. So we need to go to somebody that has access to both sets of data. And so we went to the tax collector. I went to the IT guy, and the IT guy's like, yeah, I can do that, but you need permissions from each department. So you have to go for each department, get a document signed that they give us permission to get that data, bring it all to them. Then he burned the CD for us, send us home with it.
This is some pioneer shit.
That is pioneer shit. Yeah. This is like back.
I love this. This is great.
And so then we had a CD, encrypted kind of stuff. Then we had to go convert it somehow into an Excel spreadsheet, parse out that stuff one by one. That's what I spent my hours at nights after working, being in Colorado Springs, being in LA, being in Denver, being in Wisconsin or somewhere else where I was gone for my daytime job.
Yep.
Like working until 10 p.m. and from 10 p.m. to midnight, I sat and tried to figure out how to get these CD-ROM, how to get the data into a format that we can actually use.
Yeah.
And then we
gotta contact these people.
Yeah. Then we had it all together. And now all this data is available from commercial data sources at your fingertips. Yeah. You just say, I want tax delinquent data. I want in this area. I want this. Boom.
Yep.
2 minutes later, you have it all in a beautiful format in your CRM. But back then that didn't exist. So then we went and then we printed those out. And again, back then, most of the printing houses, they wanted like 10,000, 20,000 pieces minimum mail run. And we wanted to send out 800 letters. So they wouldn't do it. So we had to print them out at home.
Oh my God.
Stuff them, fold them, seal them, put stamps up them, send it out in the mail. And then people responded. And for whatever reason, the only people who responded were landowners.
Interesting.
Homeowners almost never responded. Or if they responded, that went very quickly nowhere.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have the follow-up systems and the right knowledge and the negotiation training and things like that for it. We didn't know what we were doing. But the land people, they were just like, yeah, you want it? My dad had it. He passed away. I inherited it and I don't want it. Or I had a divorce, and one of these guys was the guy. He had like $150 in back taxes, and we gave him $250 extra, so $400 total. And he's like, yeah, I so much don't want that thing. I stopped paying property taxes. I don't care about it because I just don't even want to be reminded of it. I don't want to even go through the effort of dealing with a realtor. Just take it off my hands.
What's crazy is his neighbor across the street would have bought that for
immediately
$4,000.
Immediately. Right. And I didn't even negotiate with the guy.
No, I was like, 10x. Boom.
Yeah, 10x is like, yeah, I'll take it. And 2 weeks later, we then got 40 acres somewhere in Apache County, Arizona, for like a grand rural area for $500, and sold that online on, back then, again, doesn't exist anymore. There was a website called eBayauctions.com. Okay. We put it on eBayauctions.com. In 10 days, it sold for a $10,000 profit. And we're like, haven't even seen that thing.
Right.
Like
that's the best.
Beautiful. So, and that's how it started. And then we realized.
So what year was this ballpark?
That was all, at that point, we were in 2002.
That's exactly when I started.
2002. And then in June or so of 2003, I received my green card, and I think, or June, July, and I stayed a couple more months at the job. In October of 2003, I quit my job.
Beautiful.
October 17th.
Okay, so let's bring us up to speed. So now we got 21 years from 2003 where you're autonomous, you got your green card, you're legal, you're starting to ramp up. So those are your first couple of deals. What is the strategy still the same today? Let's go back the last 2 decades. What transpires? So you're making some money, reverse engineering, marketing, old school pioneer in terms of marketing. I know you're big in the education space, so bring us up to speed to 2024.
So the base strategy works exactly the same, except for we quickly realized that there's only so many people that stop paying property taxes.
Right.
So our market was limited, particularly if you go outside of bigger cities into smaller areas. There might be 300 people who haven't paid property taxes, so you can pick up 10 properties there, but then you're done.
Right.
But there might be 30,000 properties in that county, and what we realized is that only about 4% of the people owe property taxes. Okay. 96% of the people still want to sell their property. And they, or many still 10x, 20x want to sell their property still for cheap, but they're kind of grudgingly still pay property taxes. So we stopped focusing on tax delinquent properties. Instead, we go after other criteria like size and location and how many years the owners have kept the property, how they got the properties, it inherited, et cetera, et cetera.
Sounds like more higher equity based landowners.
Yes. And it's all free and clear land anyway, usually, because banks don't lend on land, particularly outside of town.
It's a very interesting point. That's right. So when you're going after these deals, you're not worrying about any subordination. You're not worrying about default on the debt because there is no default. So the only thing you could tell that somebody's in distress will be default on the only thing that they'd be obligated to pay on, which is taxes.
And often that's not even a distress kind of thing. That's more like I've had it, I don't want it. Yeah. It's more a motivation sign, but it's definitely a sign of motivation.
Great niche. Yeah, it's beautiful. Okay.
So since then, we have done 5,000 deals.
5,000 deals.
And since then, the core strategy works exactly the same, but obviously all the steps are now, technology has come in and has simplified everything.
For sure.
Like we don't go and microfish anywhere. It's probably been 17 years that I stepped foot into the last county office. But it's been 17 years that I've seen the last property in person.
So you haven't even gone to any of this land, nothing. 17 years.
Yeah.
Why? Because if there's a floodplains and Google imaging and all that stuff, you can do it.
When we started, Google Maps didn't exist.
Right, exactly.
We had to use MapQuest maps.
Same
thing. Like smartphones didn't exist yet.
Right.
Like when we really wanted to go see a property, we had to bring a laptop, had to cable multiple connector into the cigarette lighter, had a little GPS attached to the window, and that thing would then and a CD-ROM in it with the LORM Topo USA, that was the software, and with that thing we could navigate to where it go. Now you have 10x, 100x the capability on your phone, but just with Google Maps or Apple Maps or whatever.
I was waiting for you to tell me, Zach. In 2002. My wife and I, we got on horse and buggy. We're out in the rural land. We're riding the horse down the road.
I mean, we bought an SUV at some point, and that SUV we still own it. Grandma drives it now. It's 20 years old. Yeah. Has 230,000 miles.
It's a Toyota. What is it?
Of course it is.
There it is. Yeah.
It's a 4Runner. Yeah. Yep. And that thing was 3 wheels.
Yeah.
And that has seen parts of the country that most people have never seen.
It's amazing. Okay, so let's talk strategy. So it sounds like you're finding all these distress owners. And are you actually closing it, or were you always assigning and wholesaling these contracts?
So we love to just close on the land, buy it, and then turn around, sell it, because we have the financial means to do that.
You do now. I'm sure
we
back
do
in the
now.
day you did.
Early on, we did too, because when you get it for $400, you just pay it, and
Makes
then very
sense.
quickly we're able to self-fund.
Got it.
Because when you make $4,000 the first deal, $10,000 the second deal, $150 on $150,000 on deal like 15 or so, that those 20 deals together.
For sure.
Quickly you have a few $100,000 in the bank account, and then you start. We just started buying them ourselves.
Yeah.
What we typically recommend now, though, when we teach people to do this, is like, of course, if you have the money, buy them. But is we either double close or we assign, with actually probably 80% of our student, as we call them, our student deals happening being double closes.
Got it.
We do double closing way more than assignments, because the margins that we're talking about are so
huge.
big
That somebody's going to be upset, because it's going to be about disclosure and say, wait a second,
Exactly.
I just gave this, so I was distressed for 400, but you're making 10 or 20 grand. This isn't right. And then they back out. So why
Exactly.
jeopardize that?
Yeah. Exactly.
Makes sense.
That's the main reason. Like, you got a $50,000 property for $12,000 and you sell it for 35. You want to do double close that thing. You don't want to assign it. Or if you have a $250,000, now we're doing much larger deals too. But now you have a $300,000 property under contract for $170 and you're selling it for $250. It's a double close
For sure.
Yeah, with transactional funding sometimes, depending on which title company you end up dealing
Absolutely.
with. How much you need to disclose,
Okay, so that's good. So you're closing on this stuff, but ultimately you have no intention of retaining any of these. Your goal is obviously buy and immediately exit. Correct.
Bread and butter model, yes.
Okay.
Over time, what happens though is you're going to come across properties that are like smack in the path of growth. We focus on three kinds of properties: infill lots.
Yep.
Properties in the path of growth, so outside of larger cities.
Yep.
Within, like, path of growth is a relative chewing gummy term in our world, because you could be right behind the last development, or you can be a half an hour drive outside. So depending on where you are, it's immediately sellable to a developer, or it's more like land that somebody that works from home now, that doesn't want to live in the city, wants to have 5 acres, half an hour outside of town, and then only come to town once a week for like some business meetings.
Yeah.
But when you see that, sometimes you come across, invariably, you're going to come across properties that sit like 5 miles outside of the last development, with the developments approaching half a mile a year.
Yeah.
And you're like, you're 10 years out from this being completely in developed area. And if you can get 5 acres for $30,000, and you know that 10 years from now, those 5 acres are going to be worth $500,000.
You sit on it. You warehouse that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have about 30 properties that we're sitting on that the developments are coming closer and closer. We're looking to add another 20, 30 to them probably in the next year.
Nice.
And then also over time, you come across some deals that, especially if you go into the cities, that are worth entitling, subdividing, things like that. And we actually do that on rural properties too sometimes. When you get a hand on a nice 40-acre parcel on 2 dirt roads, like, then we like it for it to be 2 roads, like a corner lot. Then you can split off the top 20 acres and split the bottom into 4. So you basically do what's called a 5 split. And you sell the 20 for cash for more than you bought the 40.
You own the rest free and
And
clear.
the other one for clear. And you sell. We love selling those with seller financing, because then we actually get cash flow out of land.
For sure.
We've done a lot of
Infinite
seller
cash flow,
financing.
because you're playing with casino money.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. So at what point did you guys decide, okay, I know it sounds like you have a big coaching program.
We do, yeah.
Welcome. Give it a shout out. What is it?
Yeah, it's called Land Profit Generator.
Okay.
So yeah, we teach everything from the $5,000 deals to all the way to the entitlement.
Yeah.
We got 14 coaches that do everything from small deals to $1 million deals to subdivisions to you name it. So we like to say, even though that we can't officially say that, we're the Harvard of land flipping, because basically it's like, not because it's hard, but it's because we cover it all. It's like the best on there. And yeah, we started this in 2008, because what happened is in 2008, obviously the market crashed.
Yeah.
And there was blood on the streets. Lots of people were going bankrupt in this industry, but we didn't. Because what happened is, when you do wholesaling, you don't have exposure. And we did have to cancel a few contracts as the market prices went down, but the contract we use gives us the right to cancel the contract anytime for any reason, because the sellers don't care. They're usually people that they're like, yeah,
they're ready to get rid of their house anyways. Yeah.
And so what happened in our market is that that prices went, when before we'd say we would put a piece of land on a contract for 30 grand and sell it for 70. Well, as the market came down, we would take a similar piece of land now on a contract for $15,000 and sell it for 30. So our margins were cut in half or so, or 35 or so, but
your margins stayed the same, but your pricing went down. So
yeah, well, instead of making 40 grand, we make like 15 to 20 grand on a deal, but we're still making 15 or 20 grand.
Yeah.
$11,000. That's how much more you'll make per deal using Investorlift. Stop wasting money. Stop wasting time. Book a demo with us today and let us show you how we can help. Click on the link below to book a demo with us right now.
The interest of people, so because land is, again, it works a little bit outside of the normal world because nobody forecloses on a piece of land if there's no loan on it. The people that own the pieces of land, they just realized, oh, the prices are going down, I gotta go sell cheaper. But lots of people out there still want land, because land is something more like for people to like dream, like they want, down the road I'm going to build something for us to go on the weekends. It's something that if it's on a lake or something, that when I'm older I'm going to build my home on there. That desire doesn't go away no matter what the economy does. And if prices are cheaper, you can continue to sell. So our business continued to go really well. And then another thing that was really helpful is that just around that time, finally everyone had high-speed internet. And websites like Facebook were starting to be around, Facebook and Facebook groups. Also, websites like Zillow didn't even exist in 2002. Yep. Now everyone takes Zillow for granted, but Zillow and Realtor.com and things like that were around. So you could actually take your property and put it on the market and sell them quickly. Because before that, you literally had to put them in the newspaper. We put them on this little street corner like newspapers, and then people would call us and then we would mail them a package, and then they say like, yeah, I want to buy this property. And then the next step we did is, before 2008, we started putting together huge auctions. We would buy like 200 properties in 3 months and then put up an auction and sell them up in 1 day.
Oh, wow.
And we do that 3 times a year.
Yeah.
So that's like 600 to 700 properties. Sometimes we did a little bit more than 200.
Did everything sell there? So these are absolute auctions, or?
These are absolute auctions, but we've spent enough advertising on radio, television, newspaper that we got about 800 people in. And then we had...
Did you auction them yourself or bring a professional auctioneer?
A world-class auctioneer from South Carolina.
How fun was that?
That was amazing.
I mean, so your first one, you're like, okay, we just aggregated all these homes. It could go really good or really bad.
Land, yes, not homes, but yeah, exactly. We literally, that was one of these pivotal moments in our life, because we saw another company do that. That company today, it's known as auction.com.
Yep.
Back then, that company was landauction.com.
Got it.
So they just transitioned from land to houses, but they were doing that. And we attended one of their auctions. We're like, this is the same kind of properties that we're buying.
Yeah.
So we can do the same thing. Like, I always have a belief in life that I'm not smarter than anyone else, but I'm also not less smart than anyone else. So if they can figure it out, we can figure it out. So we go to work, we go buy, I think we accumulated 170 property, and then we ran out of money. And we advertised the stuff, and then it's a free auction.
I love that. Yeah.
And we got a guy by the name of Eli Detweiler, who's a world champion auctioneer out of South Carolina. We got 10 bid assistants in. We got 35 licensed real estate agents that we trained on how to sign the contracts, because it's legal work, that you have to be an attorney or agent to do this. We've got the convention center, like 8,000 square feet in the convention center. We open the doors and we are freaking praying that
people are showing up. Yeah.
Like,
you know, they send you the people.
And we had at that first auction, about 600 people show up, and 400 on an auction.
Were you sweating that morning?
Oh, we were sweating.
Yeah.
But we made $1 million that day.
You made $1 million in 1 day.
Yeah.
That is
And we had checks and things. We had a banker's bag that thick in there, and we literally drove home with that thing. We didn't know that we could get police protection. So we drove home. That banker's bag literally slept between my wife and I that night.
But this is what money, it's not cash, right? So these people showed up with...
Some people brought cash.
Okay.
We typically sold every single property. We sold it at whatever the price is,
Yeah.
and we gave everyone the option: pay cash or pay to seller financing with 20% down.
Got it. Okay.
So a lot of the properties that seller financing, probably 60% did seller financing.
Yeah.
And the ones that did cash, they either brought a cashier's check or they gave us a check.
Okay.
And
But it wasn't cash.
and some of the down payments were cash.
Got it. That's dangerous.
Yeah,
Now
I
you
know.
know.
We had about probably like $75,000 or $100,000 in cash in there, and then another few $100,000 in checks and other things and money orders and everything, literally in a banker box. And then the next morning we went to the bank.
Right.
They opened early for us, and then they counted all the money. We had to sign all the no money laundering kind of
Sure,
thing,
of course.
and then they deposited. Then next time we had 2 off-duty police officers.
Yeah.
Through there, they drove with us to the bank. We got a night deposit into the bank, and to make sure.
Those of you watching, so you don't target him. He did leave. He's got 6 weapons over here on the counter. His bulletproof vest, and this guy's a walking money machine. So don't think you're gonna come after.
No,
my guy
I don't
over
carry
here.
cash anymore. So if anyone wants to go do the hit job,
That is super. I was gonna ask you.
I
So
carry a little bit cash, but
there you go. I saw 20 sticking out of the pocket.
Yeah,
but
nothing
you a
worse
soccer
than-
player, by the way, with the Sambas?
I'm not. But I used to play a sport called handball, but it's team handball.
Okay.
Not like the hand against the wall. It's an Olympic sport. If you watch in the Olympic, they actually showed it quite a bit, more than ever before. And I was wearing these exact same shoes when I was playing as a
Those are my indoor
as a
shoes for
teenager.
soccer. Yeah.
And they came out with them again as Sambas. I was like, oh my God, this is the shoes that I was wearing when I was 16 years old. And so I got myself a pair.
Nice looking shoes. So I was going to ask you, so what's your best deal you've ever done? Would that be the auction, the 170?
Well, yeah, then we have done the auctions all the way up to 250 properties.
Talk about your number one, just best land deal in terms of profitability. What was it?
My favorite one, I mean, the most is probably a few $100,000 on a deal, but my favorite one is one of these deals that I think only happened in the land space. Again, was a guy had a piece of land, an acre in Prescott, Arizona, which is a beautiful growing kind of, there's a lot of retirees, but like a beautiful area, lots of Whiskey Row with bars and things.
Like Prescott,
and it's cool up there. It's a good hiking area. And it sits on top of a mountain right in the city of Prescott. It's the top peak lot with views all the way to Flagstaff. It's an absolute gorgeous lot. And the guy lived in California, and when he wanted to show his lot to his mom, so they drove from California, and halfway through, she has health problems. So they have to get her into emergency room and things. She ends up having a heart attack. She survives. Bring her back home, and sometime later she dies. Well, half a year later, something like that. So it has nothing to do with the property, but in his mind it does.
Right. So every time he thinks of the land, he feels the pain, emotionality with the mom.
So he accepted our offer. So he stopped paying property taxes on the deal, one of these kind of deals, and he accepts our offer for $1,875 for the deal. So we go put it in one of our auctions, and we sell it for $87,000, which obviously is like what is that in return on investment? That's like
40x or something.
Yeah, something like that. And with a $17,000 down payment and monthly payments of $1,000. So the guy starts paying monthly payment for after 2 years, the buyer stops paying. So now we have collected at that point $24,000 plus $17,000 is $41,000 on that deal. And we do a foreclosure, we take it back, and now we can resell it again. So this deal has made us well over $100,000 or $150,000 already. The borrower is still paying on it. Now, 10, 12, 15 years later, he's like soon done with it. But this deal has made us, I would say well over $150,000 on a $1,800 investment.
Amazing.
That's one of my favorite deals.
That's a great deal. Yeah. Insane.
Yeah. So now we built this. We built this up. The thing is, 2008. What happened is like all of a sudden, everything social media things was around. People could buy these properties indoors, one by one. And what happened is at that point, our business model of the auction stopped working because interest in overall people wouldn't show up at the auctions anymore. But it was a blessing in disguise because it means that because it was kind of like a feast and famine business model. We had like no sales for 3 months, then we had an auction and made $1 million.
Right.
Then we had no sales for a few months, and we made $2 million.
Delayed gratification.
Right. Exactly. So But now in this market, we could put them out online all day long and they would sell all day long.
Right.
Changed how how our business worked. It went from a peak and spike and feast and famine to just a money coming in every single day, and also a much more replicatable model. Because I can't ask anyone out there, say like, yeah, you want to learn how to do this? Great. Invest $200,000 in an auction, buy 200 properties. Can't do that.
Yeah.
Like we
huge barrier to entry.
a huge barrier, but I can tell, I can easily say to somebody, hey, you want to get a deal, Kate? Go send some direct mail out, get some leads. Our leads flow is still 10x what house flippers get, and make some offers, get some deals under contract. When you have them under contract, you put them out on these platforms, and then you make, when you have an offer that's $15,000, $20,000 more than what you actually have the still on a contract, you do an assignment or double closing, no money out of pocket, and you get the deal done. They're like, I can do that, right? So now as this became our normal business model, we're like, you know what? And everyone around us was losing money, not in land, but in the house market, because the market was crashing, but our business was continuing to go. We're like, we need to come and start teaching this, because this is something that the world needs to know about.
I like that.
Plus, there's 3,000 counties. At that point, we were operating in 17 counties of the United States, making doing as many deals as we could handle. There's space for thousands of more people in this space, tens of thousands of people in this space, without us ever really creating a lot of competition. So we're like, we need to go out there and we need to share this with the world. And that's when we started the coaching.
Coaching. Beautiful. So how many people have you taught or are in your program?
That's a good question. I need to run the number out, how many people. It's in the tens of thousands of that.
Tens of thousands that you've coached. Wow.
That have not coached, but have bought either one of our home study courses and so on. The coaching students is probably in the couple of thousands or so on.
Yeah.
But we have done the math behind the scenes and kind of analyzed this. I believe we've created over 1,000 millionaires already. And that's the thing I'm most proud of.
Wow. Say that again, because that is insane. 1,000 millionaires.
That's the most beautiful part about this. Is there's people like Lorraine, or people like, my wife is part of the coaching business with me. And the moment she joined it, the women in this world, they realized that, they can do it, because the real estate, as you know, is a lot of a bro game. There's a lot of this chest pumping guys out there on stages and and cars and the fast cars.
That's what you said. That's what you see on stage, right? Yeah. But my interaction, I think some of the best investors in the world and best investors in the Absolutely, women.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like what we're realizing in our business, our customer base on the coaching side is 50-50. And the women are kicking those guys' butts.
There's no question.
Because they're diligent, they follow the instructions, they're patient, their thing, and they're doing fantastic out there. So yeah, but there's people like they were school principals and quit their job and making $800,000-900,000 a year now. When I say the millionaires, I don't mean people that make necessarily, not every one of those makes $1 million a year.
No, in aggregate,
of terms of made $1 million with this business. And so Jeanette, she's like traveling the world and making close to $1 million. And then there's Elaine, who is in their late 70s and pulled off just July of this year. She had a $96,000 a month. And it's just beautiful to see from all walks of life, though.
I love. Is that your what's your highest gratification? What's your greatest accomplishment to date? Is it the 1,000 people that have made $1 million? Is it your kids? What are you most proud of in terms of who you are as just a man?
I think.
Takes off. He picks up a first down.
Oh man, look it. I gotta teach my man Zach how to throw a football, but he's teaching me so much today in real estate. I learned so much. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. And look, you guys, I learned how to take this trash to cash. And my man taught me everything. It was a true masterclass today.
Guys, if you want to see more content like this, stay tuned every week. We're gonna be updating the station. We're going deep. We're throwing touchdowns. We're doing short passes. We're bringing you everything you want to know about real estate. Turning trash to cash. That's what we do. That's what we excel in. And we'll also enhance our spiral throws. Baby. Working on it, baby.
Come on, give me a good one. Give me a good one.
Have a good weekend.
There we go. All right, there we go.
Well, I think my daughter would be high up there, probably the number one. And
how old's your daughter?
She's 17. We only got one, but we're blessed to have one that is not just smart and pretty and so on, but also really like she loves to hang out with us still. And at the same time, she has straight A's. At the same time, she goes to parties. At the same time, she has lots of friends.
Yeah.
So she's this super well balanced go-getter. She runs a podcast with my wife.
Yeah.
I think you met them before. She's just amazing, and she's a really good human being to even like talk to and thing. When people meet her, I was like, this is not normal and so on. So, and I think that's not my accomplishment, but that's her accomplishment. But I'm very proud of her.
But I'd say it's both, because you're the one that socializes her and influences her. And your wife,
I'm sure.
you know?
I'm sure that plays a role. And on top of it, she's a daddy's girl. That's the most.
There you go.
And of course the businesses we have built are up there. Also, I mean, the fact that we're married for 23 years and happily married. And
your wife, is she from the United States? Because you met her in the States.
Honduras.
Oh, she's from Honduras. Nice. Yeah.
So we're both immigrants together. We went through a lot of stuff together.
Yeah.
And we work together. We work well together. And so I mean, there's a lot of hard work behind all of this, but I'm proud of it all. Like,
so your family, in terms of languages, obviously Spanish, German, English. What does your daughter, trilingual, quadrilingual?
She is trilingual. Actually, she's quadrilingual because she is now in her third year in French.
Okay.
And she's going to take a fourth year next year. So she's a junior in high school. So at that point, hopefully she can speak some French.
Yeah.
So she speaks obviously perfect English, absolute fluent Spanish.
Yeah.
Pretty good German. She's fluent. She understands everything. Can have a conversation, but obviously there's words missing. So on, because my wife doesn't really speak German.
Yeah.
She obviously speaks perfect English, but she doesn't really speak German. So it makes it difficult in the family to say something. And grandma lives with us.
Okay.
So Michelle, my mother-in-law, lives with us, and she only speaks Spanish.
Nice.
So now it's like, I speak in Spanish to her. I do speak Spanish. So we speak English here, perhaps a little Spanish there. And if I then want to speak German, I have to go translate it all into different languages for everyone to be on. It's too exhausting over time. So German is suffering.
Yeah.
But then because we're in the land business, because we're our own bosses, every summer we go 3 to 4 weeks to Europe.
Beautiful.
My parents come usually over one time a year. We go over.
What part of Germany do they live in?
The very southwest, close to the Black Forest, a few hours west of Munich.
Okay. I was in Munich before.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool place. And
Very cool.
So this year I've been already over 3 times.
Okay.
And we actually I spent 3 months of this year in Germany, or in Europe.
Yeah.
I took a month off, walked 500 miles to Spain.
Wow. You walked to Spain?
I walked through Spain,
Okay.
did like a pilgrimage basically there, worked for like 35 days, 500 miles.
Amazing.
And at the end, they met me, and then we did 2 months just travel to Europe as the 3 of us, and obviously stopped by my parents' place like many times and spent.
Where did you? I lived in Spain. I studied in Sevilla. Where did you? Did you start from the south, north, or where did you go?
I went from the north. I went from the border from France.
Yeah.
Basically, actually, I started from Pamplona all the way to Santiago de Compostela in the very north, in Galicia on the very northwest side.
You had some good food, hopefully, up there in the
delicious
Basque region.
Food, delicious wine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How has language impacted your land business? Because I find for me, Spanish is instrumental in my business. I use it daily. I would presume that opportunities have arisen because of vulnerability and connection through language. How has that been for you?
Spanish, more than anything, has been extremely helpful. And also not just the language, but to some degree, the cultural understanding.
Yes.
Because a Spanish land buyer is not just going to go and wire you money. Like culturally speaking, and it's perhaps, we don't know exactly. I talked to,
sorry, that thing's right in my, that sun's coming right in my face.
Let's move forward a little bit, sorry.
Okay, is that going to help?
I think it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, you just stay right there. Shout out to Luigi, by the way, coming in, the MVP of this thing.
Oh, fix this one.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm getting pummeled in the eye. Okay. Yeah. So a Spanish land buyer is a little different. It's not just about wiring money. They need connection and comfort, probably, and safety.
Exactly. They want to meet you. And I think whether we don't know exactly why that is, it might just simply be because they're just more they're being screwed over more.
There you go. Yeah.
So, because the Latin culture is, I'm married to a Latin, and when we go, people always ask you, are you doing land deals in Honduras? We're like, no. Are you doing land deals in Mexico? It's like, no. Just there's too much corruption. Simply, I don't want to deal with people go all crazy about the U.S. It's not what it used to be, but it's still a country of reasonable law and order. Where somebody screws you, you can go take him to court, and the judge is going to neutralize.
There's recourse.
There's recourse and so on. And some of these countries, it depends on who you bribe is your recourse. Right? Whoever bribes the guy most, or whoever's related to the guy gets it. And I just don't want to have to deal with that. So, so with that said, the Latin culture, now they're here, they're like, no, I want to talk to you. I want to meet you. I want to look you in the eye. I want to see. And so we have sold a lot of pieces of land over like coffee, or they come into our office and they just say like, they want to meet us. And then sometimes they come out with a bag of cash, which they just put 20 by 20 off to the side, and they pay for cash for their property. They don't like to be in debt and so on. So yes, it's extremely helpful.
So that's good for our audience. A lot of times people ask me, hey, what are some secrets to, weapons of success that we can use to differentiate ourselves? And I always lean on, obviously in the Southwest, Spanish is instrumental. I do a lot of business with Latin families that are either buying or they're renting or at least purchasing. And it's the same thing. It's like, even before they sign the papers, they want to, what's your name again, sir? ¿Cómo te llamas? Bueno, tiene un sitio de internet. Vamos a buscar. ¿Tiene otro referencias? Sí. So it's like, it's the same thing. Let me get comfortable. And I tell them, hey, I don't want your cash. Zell me. Hey, I'm ready when you are. There's no rush. I want you to be comfortable. I want to be comfortable too. It goes both ways, right? So I always want to reciprocate that comfort. I don't just sell or rent to anybody. I want to qualify you just like you want to qualify me.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's good. So what do you do? Sounds like, you're at the pinnacle of your career pretty much. Your things are crushing. Things are moving in a great direction. You got the coaching, you got thousands of students. You're crushing it on the land deals. What do you do with your cash?
So we invest in multifamily.
There you go.
That's where we put most of our money. And we even started in the last 10 years syndicating deals. Because when you find a deal that's bigger than you can actually take down yourself, then you need to bring other people in. And so earlier this year, we bought 91 units in Fort Worth, Texas, where we needed to raise, I don't know, $3.5 million for it. So we always put a good chunk of our money into it because that's why we do it. This is not yet another business thing that I want to grow to 10,000 units or like Grant Cardone, become a billionaire with it or something like that. That is simply the place that we put our own money and we trust our own ability to manage these properties more than we trust some kind of like off-the-wall syndicator that learned last year from a course. Nothing wrong with courses, right? This is all good. But
vet the people that are coaching. There's a lot of people that coach and do this, but there's really nothing behind
and it's one thing to learn that, but now you're running an operations and you're raising money from investors. You're the steward of their money.
For sure.
You're responsible for their money. And that's a completely different game. And so we decided that we want to do that ourselves. So we have first bought some single families. Then we had started managing ourselves. Then we did the management outside in different cities also. And then we're like, well, if we can manage 25 rental houses in Cleveland, then without seeing them, then we can also go and buy perhaps a multifamily somewhere. So we bought the multifamily in Louisiana. We bought multifamily in North Carolina. We have it in Florida. We have it in Kentucky. We used to have one in Oklahoma. We have some in Phoenix. And so when a really good opportunity comes in, we basically put it up together. We put a good chunk of our own money into this deal, and then the rest was then supplemented with investors.
So how are your syndications? Why would somebody invest in your syndication compared to somebody else's? What makes you different?
I want to say I'm not different. The only thing is that we have heavily invested in our own
skin in the game.
We have skin in the game. We don't overpromise. Like early on, just a couple of years ago, I saw people that like, Jack, I'm deciding between your syndication where you forecast 15% per year and these guys that forecast 30% per year. I was like, I can't help you with that. What I would ask you, what I would do is I would ask, what is their modeling? What's their forecast? What's their rental growth? What's their thing? Because what I see coming is all this product being delivered into the market, all these new units coming in. Rents cannot go up 15% every single year. They're going to stop at some point. They might even go backwards. Also, what reserves do they have? What thing? Go ask those questions. And because here's my answers to that. And then let them go and they ended up investing with us because in these kind of deals, preservation of capital is more important than return on investment.
Absolutely.
You want to be in a deal that you know doesn't go south.
Correct. I always like to say, focus more on what the potential downside risk is versus the upside potential.
Exactly.
Can you lose it all, or can you preserve what you have and incrementally grow, or let that compound?
Because on the deal in Fort Worth, for example, we bought that from somebody else that had overpromised to their people, and they ended up losing $4 million on that deal.
Wow.
And that is probably their equity in that deal. So all their investors lost all their money on that deal. And we were able to buy it for a pittance, not a pittance, it was a good price, but for like a really good price. That property, the day we bought it, was worth 12.5, and we got it for 9.75.
Great.
And so we got a $7 million loan, and with closing costs and CapEx, we raised 3.5. And so we have basically 10.5 in it, and it's worth 12.5. And all we need to do is keep that in really good shape, raise rents a little bit, and wait for the market to pick up again, which is going to do by the end of 25, when all this new product is absorbed. And nobody has built anything in the last year, or nobody's breaking ground right now. So 2026 comes up, rental price is going to go up, and particularly in those markets like Dallas and Fort Worth. And this property is going to be worth 15 again, at which point we sell it. And our investors making a great return. But with that said, I only promised our investors a 16% or so return on that deal over the 5 years, per year, of course.
Still very high for,
it's still a very good return, but it's a reasonable, achievable return with all kinds of conservative estimations that we put in there. Other people do it the other way. So what makes us different is that we have our own money in it, that we manage it our own, but other people do that too. It's not, I think it's really comes down to are their expectations overly optimistic or not? And have they done it before? And do they have money on the sideline to cover if something goes wrong?
For sure. Do you require your investors to have contingency capital for your syndications, or no?
No, we don't, but we have contingency.
Setting up text marketing is a pain in the butt, but with Investorlift, it's plug and play. With a single click of a button, you can send out thousands of texts to the most qualified and relevant buyers for your deal. Click on the link below to see how it can help your deal today.
So you put that in there. So, Harry, we're only going to have one capital call at the beginning. And if we need some CapEx money or whatever that may be, then you guys are the...
So we raise a little more than we need.
Got it.
Even a little bit more than we think we need for repairs and CapEx kind of things. But then we also, Michelle and I always have a rule of thumb that we have I don't want to disclose how much, but a significant amount of money in very safe, like whole life insurance kind of thing, money off to the side that is available, that if something goes really bad, we don't have to do a capital call to our investors, which we can, but we have never done this. But instead we just simply tap into our reserves and be able to fix what needs to be fixed.
There's your differentiating factor. I could guarantee you that 99% of these other syndicators do not have that.
Yeah, they don't have that. And
that's to me, if I'm just sitting there vetting different opportunities and I look at stuff all day long, the number one thing I like to invest in, of course, probably yourself, is your own deals, right? You don't want to be diluted and have control, but most people don't have this contingency money and or the liquidity to step in and stabilize the boat, if you will. Yeah. So that's really good. So this is a great conversation. I'd love having you here and learning about you. So what drives you in the morning? Sounds like you're financially secure. At this point, it sounds like it's more fun than really work for you. What drives you? Why continue to do this? Why not just go out to Europe and, walk 100 miles through Spain and go live this lavish life?
We'll still do that. I think eventually we'll slow down in different areas of life. We have 2 more years till our daughter goes off, and she wants to go to college out of state.
Where does she want to go?
Currently, she's looking at some colleges in Boston.
Okay. I went to Wellesley College, by the way.
Oh, cool.
No, before you jump in, it's an all-women's school. I did a business exploration program there for a summer, and it was 11 to 1 women to guys. So I like that program.
I'm sure you did. Okay. I'm sure you did. At that time, without any ties, I would probably like that too.
There you go.
No, she's looking at the different. We toured all kinds of places, so we'll find out where she goes. But the coaching business is really run by our team now. Mm-hmm. We don't have thousands of students at a time. We are a boutique organization. We might have 150, 200 active students at a time, but that we that we can really focus on. And with 14 coaches, that means most of our coaches don't have more than 5 or 10 students that they work with on a one-on-one basis. And our coaches are all full-time land flippers that every single one of them came to our coaching program, quit their jobs, does this full-time, makes $1 million or between $500,000 and $1 million a year, and now gives back and coaches the next generation.
Very cool.
But so I'm mostly involved on the front end, like videos and podcasts and things like that. That's a lot of fun.
Yep.
I don't coach myself anymore. Our team coaches. So the time effort, therefore, is fairly limited, except for certain like promotions where I'm like involved in front of the camera a lot. Otherwise, our team does everything. On the land flipping side, we have the same thing. It's pretty automated, pretty systematized on that kind of thing. I spend currently, depending on what's going on, a little bit more time on the multifamily side. But other than that, I'm usually like, our daughter comes back from school at 3:30. We're really putting a focus on spending time with her because, hey, we have one more summer left.
Yeah.
Right? Or
That's
two more
nice.
summers.
Yeah.
For the summer after graduation, she goes to college soon.
Yeah.
So we have 2 more summers left before she goes bye-bye in a way. And then, we do and then we do a lot of travel. Like we basically block off every school break that she has.
Yeah.
We're off somewhere. We're off to Hawaii, we're off to Europe, we're off to different places. And then I like reading, I like hiking. I live close to the Phoenix Mountain Preserve, which
Where do
is
you live?
in Paradise Valley,
Whereabouts?
which is Tatum and Shea, close by.
That's where I live.
Really? Oh, we might be neighbors.
That's crazy. Are you south on Tatum, I'm
Yes, I
assuming?
am, yes.
Yeah. Are you on the west or east side of the street?
West side.
Same here.
Really?
Yes, I am.
We might be five houses from
north
each
or south of Doubletree.
south.
Same.
Okay.
That's so funny. Which subdivision are you in?
Sunset Heights.
I think you're just north of me. I'm in Clearwater Hills.
Okay. Yeah, you're just south. Yes.
Yeah, I know exactly where you are. Great location.
Right
You're
on
right
the
by the
other side
100-mile
of the
trail.
Yes, right there.
Yeah. You know what subdivision I love that's actually Phoenix is the one just north of you, the little gated community, not guardiated, but gated.
Yeah.
I did a flip in there and it was amazing. I set the highest comp in that neighborhood. My house back to the 100-mile trail in the corner on 3/4 of an acre back there on Villa de los Caballos. That was an amazing house. It was one of my first higher end flips back in the day. And I was like, this neighborhood's incredible.
Yeah.
Great location.
Yeah.
That's
It's
so
a great
fun.
place. I literally walk out of the house and in like 2 blocks, I'm on the trail. It
For
goes
sure.
4 miles in one way.
Yeah.
And it's about 3-4 miles south to north.
Yeah.
So I can get lost in there. I mean, I don't get lost, but I can walk about 6 to 8 miles
Yeah.
there. I usually go all the way to...
I knew you looked
the other-
familiar, with your little...
Might have been, and then halfway down, I go south, and
Yeah.
you go over the hill, you literally go to the next town, there's a Starbucks, and then from there you walk back home. Then it gets
Amazing.
like 8 miles or
That's
so.
so funny. Talk about a small world. That's so cool.
That
I
is
love
funny,
it.
Yeah.
So what's, great life, great family, great energy, a lot of impact and legacy. What is on the bucket list that you still need to achieve? What are you hoping to conquer?
The one thing I personally haven't done it. Coaches have done that. So that's why we coach on it, because again, I'm no longer a coach, but our coaching company can teach it because they are doing it, is I have not taken anything ground up. Okay. So that's the next thing for me. We're preparing right now, 2025. I want to start finding some really nice infill lots in different markets and go to the entitlement process. Some of them will sell after the entitlement, and a couple of them we want to take vertical all the way to the full developing, and then if I can, even hold on to them.
Yeah.
Like basically to some smaller, like 25, 50 units or so, infill development of some multifamily, and just instead of buying 30-year-old product that you then have to rehab.
Create now, yeah.
Let's go right from the bottom and build something up, because you're adding so much value in the entitlement process. You might take a couple of acres for $600,000. Once you're done with that, it's a $3 million lot.
Mm-hmm.
You can take that $3 million lot, contribute it to the development as your equity, and get a construction loan. And you essentially, with the purchase price, with like perhaps a few $100,000 or a couple of $100,000 of down payment, you end up building a $10 million property without having to add any additional equity to it.
For sure.
And that's a multi-year project. That's a different kind of thing, but that's definitely in the future right now.
I love it. So one of my best deals, and I'm a single family guy, as you may or may not know, but one of my best deals ever.
Yeah, you used to be my landlord for our video studio here.
One of my best deals ever was a land entitlement deal.
Yeah.
So it was 71st Avenue in Bethany Home. One of my closest friends at the time passed away from COVID. Shout out to Richard Placencia. May he rest. Great guy, an amazing escrow officer, bilingual. We hit it off. Just a fundamentally sound, amazing guy. And we had, I think he knew a seller, somebody who was in distress, needed to sell some land, and another piece was owned by a bank. We aggregated the two pieces right there in the southwest corner. So we had 15 acres and took it through entitlement. City of Glendale. It was a multi-year deal. And we're like, this is a long process. I didn't know nothing about development at the time because obviously single family. And we had a 7-figure exit on that one deal just by playing the long game, delayed gratification, entitlement, because builders, they don't want to wait around for that. They just want to get building. They do what they do. That's their core competency. Hindsight, there's 67 homes there, gated community, and I actually own homes, my own single family homes directly across the street. I own a 5707, 71, Pack, or all over those places. And I was telling my tenants, wait to see what you got. Should have, hindsight 2020, retained it. But hey, you're never going to go broke taking a big profit, redeploy,
exactly right,
and go into there. So.
Yeah, one of our mastermind members, we have a mastermind for the more advanced land people that are already doing that. Either they came to our coaching program or from other walks of life. Anyone that's in the land space, we have a mastermind called the Ultimate Boardroom. Mm-hmm. And one of them he just made $1 million profit in June doing an entitlement. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
So everyone's always quick on the exit. Sometimes slow it down, figure out, hey, what's the highest and best use? Can you afford to sit on it? Like you say, it's an amazing thing when you can just pledge your equity, and it's so great at that point that you virtually come in with almost nothing and get a huge, huge return.
And to what we said earlier, this is like exactly what do we do with the land now? Like you either keep some and land bank them, or you can do those kind of things and split them, subdivide them, entitle them, do the things, those things with them over time. And because as you learn more about land at the beginning, or a typical student, the beginning they just wholesale.
For sure.
Then they do self-financing.
Yep.
Then they perhaps take a piece and break it into 4 and sell them individually, sell them like that. Then they might, after that, they might then go into the entitlement kind of thing, or they might find a piece of land and find a tenant for it as a triple net kind of deal and get into that space. And or some people now that they harvest timber of it. I mean, there's so many niches within land that you can go after. That the wholesaling of land. That's like most of our people that have a coaching business in this country and land, they all teach you the cookie cutter model. Like we do that as a foundation, but then from there you can go into all these different things because we have built all this expertise.
I love it. And that's really important in terms of exits, adapting and pivoting to different market climates and going from there. Why? So let me ask you this. Sounds like, you've mastered the land stuff. You're doing the multifamily. Man after my own heart. What about the single family? You're not a fan of that? What's the story?
We own 15 single families in Phoenix.
50 or 15?
15, 1-5.
Okay. Yeah.
We had like 25 of them. Over the years, we sold some. We had, I think, 25 in Cleveland, which we sold them all. I think we have one left. Okay. And we have like 5 in Omaha, Nebraska, and we're closing on the sale of the first of those 5 next week, and we're getting rid of them. Okay. So I'm our multifamily. Like it's easier. Like a large multifamily, you have a property manager, you have a leasing agent, you have a regional in place, you have a maintenance guy in place. Most of the stuff that comes to us in terms of maintenance and things like that, I never even hear about in the multifamilies, because unless it's something that's multi-$1,000s.
Sure. The chiller system or whatever.
The system takes care of it. Everything is being done. And I just look at I attend per property, I attend a 30-minute weekly meeting. Okay. And most of them I don't even attend anymore because we have an asset manager in place. She attends those, and she and I have a weekly meeting. So most of these are basically in one meeting a week. I can manage most of it. And I'm sure that's true with single families too. But it's just, I choose to have 100 single families in one property.
Makes perfect sense. So final question for you. This has been amazing. The advice and information that you've acquired from your, 2+ decades of almost 3 decades, 2.5 decades in this business. What do you tell people listening? This is obviously about financial wisdom, entrepreneurship, advice. What could you give that somebody that's watching this can walk away and say, wow, let me implement this strategy, or what's an amazing takeaway that you could deliver for our audience here today?
Sure. A simple strategy to get a land deal is to go on Zillow, look at land deals that are listed for a year plus, and you'll find them. And this particular strategy, do it in a hot market. Do it in a market like parts of Florida. Not our fall Florida was affected by hurricanes, parts of like Phoenix, things, other markets like that, or like areas that have a lot of land, but the market is relatively growing and hot. Even though the average piece of land might only sit on the market for 60 days before it sells, or even faster, perhaps 30 days, you'll find some properties where the listings are so bad that they're sitting on the market for 700 days or 300 or 400 days with like something like 10 views and no saves. Go track down that agent, because you probably have to track down the agent, because the reason they're sitting on the market because it's by a horrible agent that doesn't pay any attention, put down no effort in there, is not responsive. But track the guy down, make an offer, get that offer through to the buyer. Your chances are you can get a deal for half price. And then turn around, find the best realtor in the area that knows how to put a listing together, knows how to do this properly, have it right away, relist that property, and you'll probably make 20 grand like this on a deal. It's not a scalable strategy, but it's a strategy you can find your first couple of deals. And then if you want to know more, check us out.
How can people get in touch with you? Great.
So the easiest thing is we have like a 30-day blueprint, which is a PDF that shows you exactly how to get started and what to do in the first 30 days. You can get that at Land Profit Fun. Fun like having fun. So F-U-N, landprofitfund.com. You can find out more there, or you can go to landflipping.com. Every once in a while, we do like some online challenges, multi-day trainings, and so on for free. So landflipping.com is the other place.
Beautiful. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been an amazing bomb after bomb after bomb. I feel like I'm just sitting here as a student of land today. Very engaged, very enlightened. I'm going to go check out those old Zillow listings, and then I'll let you sell them for me.
All right.
It's been an amazing episode. Luigi, thanks for rocking. Jack, been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for your wisdom, advice, and we seen you on the top of the mountain, literally and figuratively.
Exactly.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you get value. Let us know what else you want to see, anything you need. We here at Investorlift, 11 out of 10, always trying to over-deliver, under-promise, just like Jack's, developments and capital raises. We provide the same value. Have a great day.